Alright, now gonna take off the filter right away. Pull that off. Bring this off a little bit. Bring this off a little bit. Same with this. Don't lose those. Then you can pull this off for the moment being, because basically all I'm doing here is going to get a rough measurement. You want to make sure when you pull this off you don't rip your gaskets. None of that. You ain't got no gas in here, do you? You don't want to rip your gaskets or any of that stuff. Then you got to buy new gaskets and all that good mess. And you got to pull off your fuel lines, so sucks if you got gas in there already. You got to pinch it off or do whatever you're going to do. That's just a choke lever. That pulls right off of there. It'll come back in a second. This is metal gaskets holding this up here. Pull that off. Now we got room to bring this out enough. Get a rough measurement there. You can put it in there. Slide it down like that. Now you're in there. It's locked in place there. It can't come up. That's the goal of it. And then you get a rough measurement. Just kind of bring this underneath here. Make sure you're at idle or close to idle, because there's a little wiggle room. You know, there will be a little bit of wiggle room, not much after you do it. Oh shit. That phone's ringing. Alright, so it looks like about there is where we're going to bend it up. So I don't know what I did with my marker. There's my marker. And since you know it's pointing down right there, you know to bend it up somewhere around this area. I always make a mark like that, and I put it somewhere in the middle of that mark, and it'll work out. If it don't, you got your other half here, and if not, trial and error. You'll figure it out. But from there, pretty simple. Grab right about there. Make sure you're bending it the right way. Directly up from your other angle. And then from there, I mean, there's a million different ways you can go about it. You can put it in like this and get it in your carb like that. Push everything together just like that. And push with your finger here. Make sure your carb's flush where it's going to be. Then you go in here with your finger and you make sure everything's going to work good. And I mean, it works like butter. No issues whatsoever. I mean, if you... millions of different things from there. I mean, you can just bend it over this way from there, which that's what I usually do. It's simple. It won't fall out of there. Sometimes if you got carburetor spacers or anything like that there, can put a little heat to this piece right here, and you bend that flap just slightly in a little bit. That way this thing can't ever pop out of the top there. My buddy's go-kart used to do that. I don't know why his did it, but it did. So that's about how you do that. And from there, it's just hook up your cable through here, and then it pulls from back there, and you got the same situation going on. And that's about it for there. I don't know if I need to show you any more than that. I think it's self-explanatory from there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, the rest is just hooking up throttle cable, I guess, to your actual...
So you run the rest just through there into that far end?
Yeah, and the rest of the part here is just... I guess I'll just show it right away. Pull a random cable out here. In order to do that, if I could get this damn cable unwrapped. Yeah, it's rough. This here, you got this piece right here. That is what you're gonna take. Let me get a Phillips screwdriver here. You loosen this up here. Loosen that piece up right there. That'll make this movable. You gotta cut the end off of this right here, but I'm not gonna do it because we're not gonna use this exact cable. I'm just showing it for purpose. But you slide the cable part under there, and then you get that metal piece to sit right underneath there, and then you tighten that down, and now your cable that actually goes to your handlebars, you can see you're able to pull it and slide it, all that good stuff. Well, once you cut the end off it, make sure you cut this clean with a nice pair of cutters so you don't fray out the end of your wire real bad. And then there's these little there's a screw on top of this piece back here, and you loosen that screw. It's kind of a pain to get to on this, but you loosen that screw right there, and there's a little tiny hole in there, and you put that cable through that, and then you tighten that screw down on that cable. You might need to hold on to that with a pair of pliers or a needle nose or whatever you got, but you hook that up, and then you make sure it's hooked up to your handlebar or your actual throttle cable with no slack. Mainly just make sure your throttle cable's at 0 throttle at your handlebars, and make sure this is at 0 throttle here, that your cable's pulled all the way back this way, as far back this way as you can, and make sure your handlebar your throttle is at 0, and that way when you start to go on your handlebar, it'll start to pull there from 0, and then you can hit full throttle. And this screw right here, it's I guess a throttle stop screw or something like that, so you don't bust this piece right here. And you can tighten that or loosen that. I mean, I guess if you got a little kid riding it, you can push it in there to where the mini bike only does quarter throttle or something like that, you know. So I mean, if not, you can, what we do is we push it out like this, and we find out where full throttle is. Like right there is full throttle on this. So then I push that until it's right up against that little piece right there. That way when you floor it, it's hitting that, but you're getting full throttle here also. That way you're not gonna break the top piece of your throttle there and whatnot. And I don't know, we'll go from there.